How are you getting on with your internal critic? Does your internal critic offer up self-talk that is positive, supportive, empowering? If so, congratulations. You may be the only one on earth with an internal critic who offers nothing but supportive, positive commentary. Can we use EFT to tame that internal critic and switch the patterns of negative self-talk into far more supportive and positive self-talk, and in so doing, enhance our emotional well-being along with our sense of self-approval? Indeed, we can. You'll discover how we can do that in this episode of EFT Tapping Junction and Energy Healing for Well-Being. I'll also be sharing information about how you can apply a one-point tapping protocol called the Thymus Thump. Hello and welcome to the EFT Tapping Junction podcast, along with the Energy Healing for Well-Being podcast. I do thank you for joining me. Who is this show for? If you use emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, or other tapping method for self-care or to help others, this show is for you. By way of brief introduction, for more than 4 decades, I've helped thousands of people create happier, healthier, more productive lives using an array of holistic methods to include, of course, emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, meditation, and an array of other techniques. To learn more about our work, my various certifications and background, visit us at stressreliefradio.com. Negative self-talk is a universal human experience. We actually have a bias for negativity, a bias to identify what's wrong, what could be harmful, what in our environment could be a threat to our safety, to our well-being. From an evolutionary point of view, that has been a positive. The challenge is that we are no longer living in circumstances where lions, tigers, and other dangerous animals are prowling around the entrance to our caves. Today, our negativity bias fuels the internal critic. As your internal critic floods your mind with thoughts about not being good enough, perceived mistakes, fear about some future event that realistically isn't likely to happen, your body moves into a stress response. The more negative self-talk we engage in, the more intense the stress response. When self-talk is chronic, so too is chronic stress reaction. When we experience chronic stress reactions, our health, our ability to perform, and our overall sense of well-being all are affected in a negative way. When we reduce the frequency of negative self-talk and the intensity of negative self-talk, we can enjoy better health, improved performance in whatever tasks we are involved with, and a sense of greater well-being. Reducing the instances of negative self-talk really is a 4-step process. Step 1 is becoming consciously aware of your negative self-talk patterns. Step 2 is interrupting those patterns. Step 3 is changing the message of your self-talk in real time. And step 4 is to use emotional freedom techniques or other tapping protocol to reduce the frequency of negative self-talk and replace that self-talk with positive, empowering self-talk that enhances your well-being. To begin, set the intention to recognize negative self-talk in the moment. We know thoughts ebb and flow quickly. A negative thought such as, well, that was stupid, or you really screwed that up, can occur multiple times a day. When we tune our awareness to recognize those negative thoughts in real time, we are then positioned to be able to take step 2, interrupt that thought. If you studied the Jose Silva method, you already know one way to do that easily. As soon as you recognize that negative thought, you speak out loud, or if that's not possible in mind, saying, cancel, 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 cancel. Very, very simple. A second option is to use the word stop. S-T-O-P, stop. You'll notice immediately your mind goes quiet. It's now time to voice a positive statement about whatever the situation is. 2 magic words I encourage you to put into your positive statements are yes, but. Yes, but. Let's say, as an example, you made a mistake in some task you're involved with. Your reframe statement could be, yes, I did make a mistake, but I've learned from that mistake. Now I am doing it correctly. How do we react when the internal critic has offered up the thought, well, that was stupid? We could voice, yes, that was not ideal, but I can now do it properly. Immediately after saying your reframed statement, create a mind movie of you actively performing the task correctly. In situations where you had a problematic conversation, relive that same conversation in mind in the way that you would have liked that conversation to flow. Make this new and improved version big, bold, and bright. After creating this new and improved version, say the word yes. Yes. Say that with intensity. You're going to notice your sense of positivity increases immediately. Let's now turn our attention to using EFT or other tapping protocol to retrain brain patterns for fewer instances of negative self-talk and more instances of positive self-talk. We're going to divide our tapping session into 3 segments. Segment 1 acknowledges the past patterns of negative self-talk. Segment 2 points us to a future of positive self-talk. And in segment 3, we tap in our closing affirmation. Please feel free to adjust the setup statement or reminder phrases to personalize them for yourself as you tap the karate chop point. Our setup statement is, even though I have this habit of negative self-talk and my brain is wired to notice what's wrong, I deeply and completely accept myself. I choose to rewire my brain toward kind, positive, and encouraging self-talk starting now. Our reminder phrases may be a little bit longer than you're used to, but we do want to dig out the beliefs and negative self-talk behavior patterns that have been in place for decades. I suggest tapping through this initial sequence about 2 or 3 times. Eyebrow point, this negativity bias and old critical voice. This negativity bias and old critical voice. Side of eye, all this self-doubt, all this focusing on the 10% that's not perfect. All this self-doubt and focusing on the 10% that is not perfect. Under eye, I've carried this pattern for so long. I've carried this pattern for so long. Under nose, it's safe to let it go now. It's safe to let it go now. Chin, I realize the need to scan for threats to my safety. I realize the need to scan for threats for my safety. Collarbone, I forgive myself for the times I've been harsh. I forgive myself for the times that I have been harsh. Underarm, I'm ready to rewire my brain for positivity. I'm ready to rewire my brain for positivity. Crown point, I choose consistent, supportive self-talk. I choose consistent, supportive self-talk. Moving now to the positive installation round. Here we're focused on building a new pattern. Eyebrow. I notice my thoughts with awareness and kindness. I notice my thoughts with awareness and kindness. Side of eye. I speak to myself like someone I deeply love. I speak to myself like someone I deeply love. Under eye. I focus on my effort. I'm doing my best, and that is enough. I focus on my effort. I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Under nose, I celebrate what I do well, and I release the rest. I celebrate what I do well, and I release the rest. Chin, I am worthy, capable, and I'm growing every day. I am worthy, capable, and I'm growing every day. Collarbone. Positive self-talk is becoming my natural habit. Positive self-talk is becoming my natural habit. Underarm. I feel more confident and at peace with myself. I feel more confident and at peace with myself. Crown point. I choose encouraging, uplifting self-talk consistently. I choose encouraging, uplifting self-talk consistently. Now let's move to our closing affirmation. As you tap the karate chop point, say, I now trust myself to catch negative thoughts quickly, dispute them with evidence, and replace them with loving, effort-focused, positive self-talk. I am rewiring my mind for confidence, self-respect, and joy. Thank you, body, mind, and spirit. Place hands to heart. Allow a loving in-breath, and on the out-breath, again repeat, thank you, body, mind, and spirit. How do we use this tapping pattern? I recommend engaging in a tapping session at least once each day. Also, engage your tapping script when you notice negative self-talk arising. Spend extra time on any point where the statement feels emotionally charged. After your tapping session, pause and say a few positive statements, aloud or in mind. Examples: I'm proud of myself for trying. I'm learning and improving. I'm proud of myself for trying. I am learning and improving. For extra points, I recommend creating a gratitude journal where you record at least 3 things every day you are grateful for. I also suggest creating self-compassion affirmations and repeating those affirmations throughout your day. You'll find a link to the most recent episode of our Positive Word Power podcast entitled Self-Approval and Self-Efficacy, Affirmations for Achievement. You'll find that episode linked in the show notes. Speaking of other podcasts in our Stress Relief Radio network, I am going to include in this episode the most recent episode from the Easy Stress Cures podcast. The episode title, Discover the Thymus Thump for Anxiety and Stress Relief. The Thymus Thump is a 1-point tapping protocol that has all sorts of benefits, to include stress relief. One very interesting aspect of that technique is that the creator of the Thymus Thump, John Diamond, is a behavioral kinesiologist, and he is also a medical doctor. In his first book, Your Body Doesn't Lie, published in the 1970s, what he identified as the Thymus Thump was actually a way to activate the heart chakra, but he knew that that would never be accepted by mainstream medical doctors or other professionals. So he substituted the thymus gland in place of the heart chakra. You'll find an interview with Dr. Diamond linked in the show notes where he shares how all that came to pass. To listen to previous episodes of all of our shows, visit us at stressreliefradio.com. If you would like to be in touch, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. You can, of course, follow all of our shows where you get your podcasts. Let's now join the episode from that Easy Stress Cures podcast. Thymus Thump? What a weird name. But it is a very useful tool to reduce stress, and it is simple to do. You'll discover how to use this simple technique in this episode of Easy Stress Cures and Quick and Easy Stress Relief. Stephen Carter here, your host for the Quick and Easy Stress Relief Show and the Easy Stress Cure Show. The thymus gland is an important part of the endocrine system. As we age, it does tend to shrink, and as it turns out, it benefits from stimulation. It also turns out that when we stimulate the thymus gland, we also can reduce any sense of stress. If we are feeling shocked, anxious, or on the edge of a panic response, there's a simple body-based way using the thymus that we can recover toward normal emotional balance. The Thymus Thump was developed by behavioral kinesiologist John Diamond. It's a simple resilience-building practice designed to help settle the nervous system and to restore a sense of steadiness after stress or overwhelm. It calms anxiety and can help reduce any panic response. It also boosts your energy when you're feeling fatigued. To find the location of the thymus gland, use your finger, run it down your throat to the notched center of the top of the breastbone. You'll notice a notch there. Go down about a half to an inch, and that's the location of the thymus gland. Make a soft fist, and then vigorously, but not, of course, to the point of pain. Just tap it. Keep tapping until you feel a sense of relief. Stop. Allow a loving in-breath and exhalation, and now switch hands. Tap with the other hand. Remember, your thymus gland lies right underneath of the sternum, and as you're tapping, you're activating that gland. Continue tapping until any sense of anxiety is reduced and a sense of resilience returns. This could take anywhere from 30-45 seconds, or it may take a couple of minutes. Keep tapping until the body returns to a normal state of emotional balance. That's it. Simple, easy to do. You'll find a link to a short video that also contains instructions that you can download in a PDF format. If you know someone who could benefit from this simple technique, I encourage you to share this episode with them. To listen to previous episodes of this show and other podcasts focused on health, happiness, and emotional well-being, visit us at stressreliefradio.com. If you would like to be in touch, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. Until our next visit together, your host here, Steve Carter, wishing for you and your loved ones blessings in abundance.